Hello friends, so in the previous episode we added translations to Ruby on Rails application. Here you see the application has this title and subtitle in Spanish because I have the application / locale es. And if I turn it to English, you see here I have the application in English. I can go to any URL and I will have /en or /es if I select Spanish as a language. And this way, whenever you share a page in your application, everybody will see the application in the same language that you shared it in. So this is setting the locale from the URL params. And what if you don't want to have the language in the URL params? What if you want to have it stored in session or in cookies if the user is not logged in, and if the user is logged in the user model? Well, let's do it another approach. Let's do it close to this setting the locale from session or cookies. So the official guides say that it is not a good approach because what if you are viewing the application in Spanish, you send a URL to another user and he sees the application in English because this is the default language. So in some cases it's fine, so let's try to do it. So we're going to make it so that users that are not logged in see the application in English and they can save their preferences in cookies if they change the language, or in session, and logged in users can update it in their user model. So let's do this. I'm going to do it based on the previous commit. Here you can see the changes. So first of all, I'm going to undo the scope. I'm going to use the scopes. We don't need them. So going back, this should not work, but removing /es, it should work. Okay, so now I can set the language like this. Let's try to see if it works. So it still works because I have the locale in the URL. Now I'm going to also remove this code, going to application controller. I'm going to remove this default URL options. And we're going to set the locale in a different manner. So now I refresh. We still see this translated to Spanish because we set the locale from params locale. But I'm going to remove this, and this way we're going to set the locale to be the default locale. So the default locale is English, therefore it is always in English. Okay, so let's make it so that the user can actually save his changes in the, let's say, session. So I select Spanish and I want the application to be in Spanish. So I will say i18n locale equals, or let's actually do it another way. Let's say if params locale dot present, then we will say session locale equals params locale dot to sim. Oh, I don't think we need it for the session. Okay, and we will say i18n.locale equals the session locale, or we're going to use the default locale. So this way we are going to store the language in the session. Let's set it to Spanish. Now I navigate around the application and I have Spanish set. I click on English and I see the application in English. So it seems to be working. Okay, that was easy. So this way the language is stored in the session. Let's try again. I will click on English. I will visit around. Now you see Spanish is highlighted once again. Why is it so? Let's go to the navbar. It is highlighted because yeah, let's display the i18n.locale. Maybe we have an error. Let's say i18n.locale. Yeah, it is Spanish. Let's go here. I will set it to English. I will go back to localhost. Okay, it is set to English. So again, switching to Spanish, it is set to Spanish. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, just there was something cached. That's why it blinked for a moment. Okay, so it's English and now it is Spanish. Works. So this way we set the locale in the session with our application controller. And what if there is a user who is logged in and we want to allow the user to save the language in his model? Let's do this. I will say Rails generate migration, add locale to user, locale string. Let's go to add locale to user. Let's say default will be n, but we don't even need to do it because let's make it more dynamic. Let's just use the default language. So yeah, but we can also set it to null false. No, let's just leave it like this. Okay, Rails to be migrate. Okay, so now the user has locale. And let's say if there is a user who is logged in, we're going to use his locale. How can we do this? So this is used for switching the locale. Let's also update it in the user model if there is a current user. Let's say current user dot update locale params locale if user signed in. And we're going to use the current user dot locale if there is a current user, or we are going to use the session locale or the default locale. So let's see if this works. I will start the server once again. Refreshing. I'm not logged in. I have it in Spanish. Let me let me log in. I have the application in English now. Let me set it to Spanish. And let me visit some page. It is still in Spanish. And let's run the Rails console user.first. And the locale is Spanish. So we managed to update the locale of the user. Looks fine. Let's update it to English. Let's go back to the console, and the locale is English. So looks good. Let's log out now. And the locale is still English. Again, let's try changing to Spanish. Log in. Log out. And it is set again to English because this is the default locale. Again, I will set it to Spanish, not been logged in. It will persist as being Spanish. So looks fine. And this is basically how you can set the locale for users that are not logged in the session, and for users that are logged in based on the locale that they stored in their user model. So this is about it. Thanks for being with me, and see you in the next one.